Can you hear us all right, Fig? Excellent.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm here with Penny. I've done quite a lot of work with Penny now, and I spoke with her yesterday, and it was absolutely fantastic. She's got a really great story. Look, can you just tell me a little bit about how you got into sustainability and what Wild have been doing?
Yeah, so I'm a really keen open water swimmer, as you know, and those people that have seen me on social media probably usually see me in my swimming costume with my hat on doing my videos. It's really clear when you go down to the beach, there is so much plastic on the shoreline. And each time I go for a swim, try to do a little bit of a beach clean, and you come back the next time and it's just as bad as it was before. So that made me really conscious a few years ago about plastic and the amount of plastic we've got, the amount of plastic we consume, and the amount we see on the beach. And then in addition to that, very topical but not very pleasant, obviously, is the amount of sewage that we see in our water at the moment. And I actually had my MP knock on the door last year for the local elections, and I said, "What are you doing about the sewage?" And as it happens, the Secretary of State for the Environment was at the end of my road.
Just as it happens.
Just as it happens.
Secretary
And they said, "Would you like a chat?" So I said, "Well, yes, please." So had a chat, grew with them for a bit, and as a result of that, I got invited to go to quarterly meetings with Anglian Water, where we're holding them to account and finding out more about what the problems are.
Fantastic.
And it's been really interesting. It's not as straightforward as you would think. You can't just wave a magic wand and fix it quickly. Obviously, the water companies could have started doing things much earlier. But at the end of the day, I think we just have to work together. It's no good looking at what's happened in the past and saying this isn't good enough. We need to be looking at what we can do now and taking those improvements forward every day. And I think that applies to us personally with sustainability and with large corporations. And it's just keeping people accountable all the time and asking those questions.
And of course, like the sewage capacity and the capacity of the systems is a problem that needs investment. But has climate change actually had any effect on that?
Yeah, so what I hadn't appreciated, the biggest problem they've got is actually surface water management. So where we're putting concrete down everywhere and artificial grass in particular, artificial grass really affects the drainage on land. So the increase in artificial grass, concreting over everything, means when it rains, there's nowhere for this rainwater to go. So instead of soaking into the ground, it's going into the sewage system. And we've had really huge increases in rainfall. Plus, when it rains, we just get a deluge of rain. So our climate has changed, and that's affecting the water that's in the sewage system. So it's not entirely the water company's fault.
No, not entirely. So really,
the solution is their responsibility, yeah. But, we should all be doing things. I know we've spoken before about water butts. So, if you've got a water butt, empty that water butt before heavy rain, because that's acting then as an attenuation system and allowing somewhere for the water to go before it hits the sewage system. So things like that can make a real difference. So
it's fantastic. I mean, that's a big point of what we were talking about yesterday, is what are these small changes that you can do that can really make an impact on the environment? And I guess that is a really key one, especially where you live.
Definitely, and things like fat down the drains. So it's amazing. Not all commercial establishments have the adequate fat trucks in place, and they can actually sell the fat. So there's companies that will buy fat from catering establishments and turn it into biofuels. So there's no excuse for catering establishments not to dispose of their fat correctly. And obviously all of us at home need to make sure that we're wiping things out with kitchen paper, not putting fat down the drain, because that's causing blockages in the system. And then the water companies have no choice. It either backs up or they let it out to the seas and rivers. So there is a huge amount water companies should be doing, and I'm not saying we don't campaign and we don't keep the pressure on them, but actually there are things that we can do as individuals that will help that situation. And at the end of the day, what we all want is clean water. How we get there is important, but we just need to do everything we can and all take that responsibility to do it.
And it's really interesting you brought up the fat trends and being able to sell it back, because when people actually look inwardly into their own business, they have their talks with their accountants and bookkeepers, there's loads of these little things which can really change your impact on the environment while simultaneously also making a lot of business sense.
Yeah, and I think that's where it comes down to accountants and bookkeepers, because we see everything that goes through our clients' businesses. So we know exactly where they're spending the money, how they're using their materials and their resources. So if we can educate ourselves with what we need on sustainability and ESG, we can pass it on to our clients, and often we can save them money as well in the process.
Absolutely. And I think that a big thing that we're doing is being a proactive advisor a big thing of that is actually going out there and mitigating risks.
Yeah.
And climate change is a risk.
Yes, definitely.
And
Yeah.
it's a risk to every single business, and I challenge anybody to find me a business
Yeah.
which won't be affected by
Yeah.
climate change. So it really is up to us, and it's amazing to see. I mean, you have been a real leader in this area, especially amongst the bookkeepers.
Yeah.
With what you do and what Catherine Fryman's been doing, it's amazing to see how you've got so many of us all together towards the same goal.
But it's like a stone that ripples in a pond, isn't it? So, and we've got so many clients between us that we can talk to. So if we can green up the accounting sector, that moves out to clients, and then obviously what they're doing in their businesses, that can then go into their personal lives as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time.
No,
It's always a pleasure to speak to you.
No, always happy to speak to you, Alex. So
Cheers,
thank you very much.
All good, Vic? Lovely.
Brilliant.
Yeah, well, we'll send